there are growing calls for the officers involved in the shooting death of Amir Locke to resign. The 22-year-old was killed while officers executed a no-knock warrant raid at a Minneapolis apartment complex last week. Police video shows Locke near a gun before an officer shot him. Jerika Duncan has the latest, but we want to warn you, the video is disturbing.
A weekend of anguish in Minneapolis as thousands of protesters march through the city demanding justice for 22-year-old Amir Locke.
I would like to see the police officers held accountable, first and foremost.
We need to end police brutality and these no-knock warrants. Right. Stop the lying.
Body cam video shows a Minneapolis SWAT team executing a no-knock warrant after using a key to enter the apartment. Multiple officers are heard shouting with their guns drawn. As Locke rises, a gun can be seen in his hand before Officer Mark Hanneman shoots him 3 times, killing him. It all happens in about 9 seconds. Locke's name was not on the warrant, and his family says he was licensed to carry the weapon and had no criminal record.
These no-knock warrants have deadly consequences for innocent black people.
Family attorney Ben Crump says no-knock warrants create unnecessary risks.
You could knock on the door and announce that, hey, the police, we have a search warrant, so people wouldn't, in the middle of the night and while they're in slumber, hear somebody coming in their house and then feel like they were being burglarized.
All right, so for more on this, we want to bring in civil rights attorney Ben Crump. Thank you so much for joining us. You are representing the Locke family. The first question I want to ask you is about your involvement with them. How are they doing and what are they asking for?
Emery, thank you for having me. The Locke family are devastated. They are shocked. They are in disbelief, as many parents would be, to see their son being executed in this manner. They are asking that the police officer who shot and killed Amir Locke be held accountable. His mother has not held her words back. She wants him to be terminated, and she wants him to be charged. But she and his father, Karen and Andre, what they want most, Anne-Marie, is to have his legacy be that no other person, especially black person, will be killed from sleeping on the couch when the police bust open their door, executing another one of these unnecessary, very dangerous no-knock warrants that they execute disproportionately against black and brown people.
So let's talk about that, the issue of this no-knock warrants or quick knock warrants, which are similar. I mean, officers knock, but then they rush in very quickly. This no-knock warrant concept emerged with the war against drugs. And the idea was you don't give a suspect time to, hide evidence or arm themselves. But there's a difference between a policy and its implementation. So I want you to explain why its implementation has been so problematic. And for people who say, but there's a reason for a no-knock warrant, it's to do precisely that, make sure that the bad guys, in quotation marks, the subject of the warrant does not get an opportunity to, say, hide evidence. How do you respond to people who say these no-knock warrants play a role, an important role?
I respond very directly, Anne-Marie. Apparently, when you think about the war on drugs, it was very discriminatory, as we now know, that it had a disparate impact on black and brown communities. And we see the same results on these executions of these no-knock warrants. And let me say for the record, Anne-Marie, the policy is bad. As a civil rights attorney, a constitutional attorney, I think it's an evisceration of the Fourth Amendment against unlawful searches and seizures. They try to justify, to recover low levels of drugs, that we're not going to give the Fourth Amendment to marginalized people, mostly of color. And when we think about what happened with Breonna Taylor, this innocent black woman with no criminal history being mutilated with 9 bullets while she was practically naked in her nightgown in her own apartment when they busted in the front door executing that no-knock warrant. We thought, especially with it being Black History Month, that we could learn from recent history that no-knock warrants have deadly consequences for Black people. And we see from Breonna Taylor's tragedy that even though Black people in the state of Kentucky were the minority, the majority of the no-knock warrants executed in Louisville was against Black people. So the implementation is that they are putting Black lives in danger unnecessarily. Whatever the benefits are of no-knock warrants, it is far outweighed by the danger and the risk associated, not only for the citizen, but also for the police officer, with the Second Amendment being enjoyed by so many Americans having weapons to defend their homes and their castles.
Right. Listen, before we let you go, I want to ask you about another case that you're involved in. You are also filing a lawsuit against the Hollywood Police Department for the release of a video in the shooting of a handcuffed individual. Can you tell us more about that?
Certainly. Anne-Marie, we believe when this video is released, I won't say it's worse than George Floyd's video, but I believe this video is just as bad. Michael Ortiz was having a mental health crisis, called 911 himself. His family, who were away in another state, told him to take a shower to calm himself down. He did that. The police came to the door. He was in a towel. Somehow there was an altercation. He was tased twice. Then he was handcuffed while he was stark naked. They dragged him out of the apartment. He's at the elevator in the apartment complex, and they have surveillance videos. And while he's face down, stark naked, in handcuffs, for some reason, a police officer shoots him in the back and paralyzes him. And they are refusing to release the video.
Wow. You know, I have talked to you before, in fact, a number of times about some of these cases, I mean, the details are incredibly disturbing, and hopefully we'll get an opportunity to talk to you again as you continue to pursue this case. Benjamin Crump, thank you so much.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Thank you very much.